Hey folks, this is Johnny, and if you'd like to support Home Studio Trainer and Johnny Guide live streams and videos, check out my spring store. I've got everything from water bottles to shirts to hoodies, and everything you can imagine is over there. Most of it has the Home Studio Trainer logo on it, but if you dig a little deeper into the site, you'll find the hats that are available with both my black and white logo and my HST logo on it. So if you'd like to support what I do here, check that out, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you much for being a Home Studio Trainer and Johnny Guide live stream and video supporter. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next live stream. But that sounds huge in the headphones. Hey folks, this is Johnny. Welcome to another Home Studio Trainer Live. And down here I have Elvis with me. He really wanted some attention, so I thought I would bring him up here. But I see he's behind one of the logos there. So there he is, right there. And the my email address was right on top of him. Say hi to everybody, Elvis. I don't think he knows where the what are you shaking for, buddy? Are you okay? I think he's shy. I don't want to be on TV, Daddy. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous. All right, so welcome to Songwriting Simplified. Today we are going to take a look at, nope, that's not what we're going to take a look at. There it is. We're going to be taking a look at writing music for transposing instruments. Now, this is a question that we get a lot. People that play different instruments that don't fall in line, like with guitar tuning or piano tuning. Maybe we can actually go through that and see what information Johnny has to share with us on that subject. So let's go ahead and dial him up. Let's see. Ooh, look at that fancy background. God, that's awfully loud.
Hello.
Hey, Johnny, what's up?
Yeah, you got to do your usual trick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just walked in the door like 5 minutes ago. So let's see. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Leon over at Wix, he's like, hey, when are you going to learn to just have that set up when you log in? I never...
Sounds like we're in the bathtub. It's so funny.
Singing in the bathtub. There we go. That should be better.
There we go.
There we go. All right. So it's not anything that they hear. It's just what you hear.
That's right.
Because it's on Skype. I don't know what that. Say hi to Elvis. Say hi to Elvis.
So that's where they got 19 from. You wrote that song.
Exactly. So there we go. There's Elvis. He's looking at the camera.
Hello, Elvis.
What's up, Elvis? All right, very cool. All right, so let's definitely jump right into this. All right, so where do you want to start? Because this can be a tough subject for some, and for some folks, it's not only a tough subject, but if you don't understand how to do this, it could make being a session musician very difficult, especially if you're going in for certain gigs and that kind of thing. So how do we start this off?
I'll admit, this is one that can take a little getting your head around.
Yeah.
But that's not to immediately throw everybody off and go, oh.
Yeah, right.
Don't want to do that either, because actually there are a couple of really simple principles that you can apply and that you can understand.
Good.
That will help you get your head around what transposing is,
yeah,
why we do it, and what it's for.
Yeah, well, I'm just as much a novice on this as probably many of the folks in the chat, so I will ask questions on their behalf if I have to.
Hey, so let's start off with the basics.
Yes.
What is transposing?
Right.
Transposing is where you write one pitch on the notation in order to get an instrument that that is essentially pitched in a different key to play the note that you really want. So it's effectively compensating for the key that the instrument is pitched in.
Okay.
So we'll start with a simple example here. Let's start with trumpet. Trumpet is in the key of B flat. Now, that makes it a tone lower than the piano, which is in C, ostensibly.
Right.
So it makes it a tone lower. So in order to get around that, you have to write a tone above the note that you want in order for the right note to come out of the instrument.
All right.
So let's keep it simple here. So let's say we want this note to be heard.
Right.
Now, because the trumpet is a B flat instrument, it plays a tone lower than that. So in order for me to hear this note coming out of the trumpet, I need to tell him to play a note above that. So I write for him a D, and what comes out of his instrument is it, play the right note, is the C. So I write a D, and what comes out of the instrument is a C.
Oh, so it's a whole tone.
It's a whole tone, a whole step.
Tone, so not a half step. Okay.
Yep, it's a whole step. Okay, so that's to compensate for the fact that it is pitched a whole step lower than concert pitch.
Okay.
So the piano is a concert pitch instrument, flute is a concert pitch instrument as well, but let's just keep it to piano.
Sure.
So trumpet has to be written a whole step above the note that you actually want to hear. So for that reason, if we're playing a song in C major, the trumpet player has to play in D major.
Oh.
Yep.
So
because
D major.
His C major scale is going to be a tone higher than ours.
Okay.
Because his instrument is a tone lower than ours. So it's a compensation. So if the trumpet is -1 and the piano is 0, in order for him to play 0, you have to write +1 to get 0. It's another way to look at it.
Right.
All right. So it's essentially compensation. That's all transposing is. It's
now to make that really easy,
yep.
Studio One will do that for you, correct?
In the score view, there are track presets that take care of all of that. So you can select trumpet from the track presets, and all the transposing will be done for you.
Right. Right.
All right.
Exactly.
So, and Rich Ressa says, so like using a capo for certain things. Exactly. Capo basically puts the guitar in a different key so that you can play a D shape.
Oh, no, see, I hadn't thought of that.
The guitar.
You
play a D shape in a different position on the guitar, and it plays a chord that works for the key of the song.
So if I wanted to play the acoustic guitar with a trumpet player, I could use the capo and still play the chord shapes that I'm familiar with?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that you're not quite getting.
Okay. All right. No, go ahead.
That what you've done is when you put a capo on the guitar, you turn the guitar into a it already is a transposing instrument, but I'll get to that in a wee while.
Okay.
But you've turned it into a different transposing instrument. Okay. That's what the capo does. It puts the guitar in a different key wherever you put that thing. Now, the trumpet is already a transposing instrument by default. So if you go, oh, I'm going to try and match your key, it doesn't work like that. Because he is already a tone lower. So if you say, I'm going to therefore put my guitar in B flat so that he's in C, yes, you can do that.
Oh, I see.
You can do that. That would put him in C major rather than B flat. And you would be playing in B flat. So
wow.
you could that would work, but you would then be shifting the whole key of your song to put him at rest, which doesn't necessarily always work. So yeah, capo is a kind of turning the guitar into a transposing instrument.
Okay.
All right. So another B flat instrument is the tenor saxophone. But here's the thing with the tenor saxophone. It is not only a tone lower, but it is a whole octave lower than that as well.
Oh, it's
plus an octave is a ninth.
Wow.
All right. So in order to get the note that you want, you have to write up an octave and a tone.
Wow.
So, so to get him to play this note, which is a D, and it's the octave below middle C, I need to write this note, which is the E above middle C. It's an octave above, and then a tone above that, a whole step above that. So
Wow.
when you write the E, he will play the E, and what will come out is this note, which is the note you want. So that's kind of how transposing works. It's a little complicated, that's definitely true. But
Yeah.
the whole, I think we've lost connection.
We have?
Yeah, we're buffering. Or at least we were.
Oh. According to
We're not now. We had a moment there.
Huh. I was going to say, according to OBS and the grid on YouTube, we are not buffering at all.
Yeah, it was buffering for a second there. It's okay. It's all good.
Okay.
So essentially what I'm trying to get to is that transposing is compensating for the key that the instrument is in, because there are different instruments that are pitched in different keys.
Right.
And in order for everybody to play in the same key, you have to compensate for the key that those instruments are in.
Wow. So I've got to really give kudos to those of you that actually write orchestral pieces with all these different instruments. I mean, that's got to be, it's one thing for a conductor to write a song for the orchestra to play, but to understand all of this kind of stuff, boy, that's quite taxing on the brain. That would be
something. So you kind of learn these kind of things fairly early on.
Yeah.
Transposing is just one of those things. It's a hurdle you just have to clamber over. And you have to go, okay, so trumpet, right upper tone. Tenor sax, up an octave plus a tone. And then French horn, write it up a fifth because it's in the key of F.
Right.
And then, things like clarinet. Okay, clarinet has the same transposition as trumpet. Yay!
Yay!
So 1. Yay, I'll take that. And then you get alto saxophone, which is in the key of E flat. So for this one, you have to write up a major sixth. So again, that's the note I want to hear. Up, what is up a major sixth from C? 1, 2, 5, 6. It's A. So I have to write an A for him, an A above the note that I want, and the note that I want will come out at the end of his instrument. So if I'm in the key of C major, that puts alto saxophone in the key of A.
Wow.
And it puts clarinet and trumpet in the key of D, and it puts French horn in the key of G. And that's all so that everybody can play this note.
Right, exactly.
So that's essentially how it works. It's a compensation for the pitch of a particular instrument to make it readable.
All right, so here's a question then. And this is from my brain, as it were. So is it for every instrument, is it a one-to-one relationship, or are there just some notes that certain instruments can't play, or some chords, for things like that an instrument like that won't relate, like say from piano to trumpet? Is it really a one-to-one relationship for each note? Or
well,
are there caveats?
Each instrument has its own range. So, a trumpet will only go so high and will only go so low.
Right. And, that's one thing Studio One is good at with some of their instruments, especially in their in the larger library for orchestral. Their ranges are set to the natural distance of an instrument.
Yeah.
By default, which I think is cool.
They are set to the playing range of the instrument, whereas some of the presence instruments, they're not. They're just mapped across the whole keyboard.
Right, which sound kind of corny sometimes.
So you can have a trumpet that sounds like a tuba, but it can also sound like a dog whistle.
Yeah.
But that said, you know, I actually know actual real human trumpet players can make their trumpet sound like a dog whistle.
Oh,
So
jeez. That would be something to hear.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Maynard Ferguson or Arturo Sandoval are two that really come to mind about you know, really extreme high register trumpet playing.
Right.
So yeah, this is essentially what transposing is all about. Now, there are a couple of outliers that people don't realize are transposing instruments, but they actually are.
Ooh.
And that's the guitar
Right.
and the bass guitar or the upright bass.
Because
They are transposed.
you can use the capo on a bass.
Yeah,
On an electric bass.
You wouldn't. And this is take the capo out of the equation
Oh,
here.
okay. Well, I've done it with the bass. I put a capo on a bass.
Yeah, just don't do that, Johnny.
But it sounds cool.
Just don't.
It gives a
don't do
nice resident tone. You guys know how to try it. Don't listen to Jimmy. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So the guitar and the bass are both transposing instruments,
Yes.
but fortunately, it is an easy transposition. You're just talking about an octave,
Right.
okay? So you have to write up an octave for the guitar.
Oh,
The guitar is an octave lower than written.
right.
So that's it. And the same with bass. So when you see the low E on the bass, which is, if you look on a bass clef, it's the little ledger line that sits below the stave. That's the low E string on the bass guitar, which would be that note there written. But when you play it on the bass, that's what comes out. So it's a whole octave.
Wow.
Now, a lot of people don't get this, and they think, hang on a minute. I've had this question in tech support tickets. Why is it the bass appears to be an octave off? And I was like, it's not an octave off. It's just that Presence XT and the bass is in there. They treat the bass exactly as it is, which is a transposing instrument. It's an octave. It is deliberately an octave off by design because the actual real bass is an octave off. And people don't, oh, really? Yeah, it really is. It really is a transposing instrument. Is that the same for guitar as well? Yes, it really is the same for guitar as well. If you're writing single notes for guitar.
You get those questions in tech support?
Yep, because they think it's a bug.
Oh, interesting.
They think it's a bug in Studio One. Why is this a whole octave out? And it's just like, no, it isn't a whole octave out.
That's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's how it is. You look at the E on the score view, and you go, hang on, that's the note that I hear, but you write this note. It's a whole octave wrong, but it isn't wrong. It's just that's how you write for bass guitar. The reason being, you don't want to give a bass part to a bass player that has lots of these little ledger lines. Because if you do that, the bass has to sit and go, okay, okay, so that one's a B. Okay, that one's a D sharp. Okay, you don't want to be doing that to a bass player, and you don't want to be doing that to a guitar player. You want to have it so that it's nice and neat within the stave, right?
Right.
So it's readable.
So
that's the other fundamental reason why transposing exists, is to make it so that it's within that nice stave range.
So there's a lot of stuff in just Studio One alone that was designed by people that know a little bit about music theory.
Yeah.
And it's why you can think that some of that stuff is a bug, but it's not. It is written, or it was coded, I should say, to perform like a real instrument, which is why some of the questions that I get, why does my saxophone cut off 2 octaves lower than I want to? You know, like when you play the keys, you know, why can't it go higher? And that's because it was written to sound as natural as a sample can.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it will cut off after a certain point, because actually that's where the saxophone's written range cuts off.
Right. That's actually, if you think about it, you know, none of the native instrument stuff does that.
Some of it actually does.
Oh, does it? Well, not anything that I have by native instruments.
Yeah, so a lot of the orchestral libraries that will come, that you can open up in the Contact player, they will have everything set to very specific ranges for those instruments.
That's really
so that you can't make that mistake.
Well, it's very considerate for the songwriter because then you know what the limits of each instrument are, and you're not going to go beyond what you would normally hear from a real instrument.
Yep.
Therefore, keeping a sample based instrument as natural sounding as humanly possible. I mean, a lot of real professional musicians can tell a sample from, the real instrument. Your average user isn't going to be as keen on it, but there are instances, and I've even heard it in your music that you've used plugins and stuff, and you have to ask, was that a real player or was that, from a library?
Mhm.
So, and also, it's not only that and keeping things in the right tonal group and things like that, it's the performance that can really. That can really jar somebody, like a saxophone player that doesn't take a breath. Suddenly it's like, did that guy just drop dead? Because he's hanging on that high E, you know?
He's either using a breathing technique called circular breathing, or that's just not
Right,
possible.
exactly. And
So,
and and you really don't want to go with that option if you're using. You really want to go with a natural kind of performance. And sometimes the best thing, like if you're doing a saxophone part or you're doing any kind of a solo horn part, is to breathe along with what you're playing and to stop
yeah,
playing when you have to take that breath, right?
yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
Is that the way to get the best out of virtual instruments is to actually think like you're really playing that
right,
instrument
right,
and think about, okay, is what I'm about to do possible
right,
on that instrument or not?
right.
For example, a trumpet's not going to be able to play chords, just not going to happen. However, there is an advanced technique where you can play a note, and then as you're blowing into the instrument to make the note sound, you can also sing a pitch above it or below it, and you can make a harmony. So it's a bit of an advanced technique, but you can do that with a trumpet. You can do that with a saxophone as well. Um, and that can be a very effective, clever little technique.
Right.
Uh,
Just,
there's
just really quick, I want to address Secret Squirrel's question here. He says,
Sure.
just so you know, the YouTube algorithm is back to not sending alerts for your stream. Actually, that was my mistake because while I did post the stream, I didn't put anything in the community tab. And that's something that I've been doing a lot better lately is actually putting the show in the community tab. And today I did not. So you're right that the YouTube algorithm is still broken if you just post your live stream, but you have to go to the community tab and post the link so that goes out because those community alerts do still work. So that was on me, Secret Scroll. Sorry about that. I've been really good about getting those done, and today I just didn't have time. All right, so there you go. That works.
All right, there we go. So that's kind of a little whistle stop tour through transposing. There is a lot more that we could go through and we could say about it
Yep,
because it's quite a complicated subject.
it is.
Um, and so really, if people after this still have questions and they're still not quite getting it, then feel free to email me because I think it's
Yes.
probably better if I take the
Yeah,
lead.
I think it would be too. Don't worry about insulting me because I wouldn't have a clue about
Yeah,
how to
if
answer
you
those.
email Johnny at johnnylittramstudios.co.uk, those emails will get to me, and if necessary, I will make some additional videos going over it in a little bit more detail.
Excellent.
Because there's not really, in the short time we have, there's only so much that we can do. But I wanted to give people
Sure.
a whistle stop tour on transposing because everybody's going to encounter it at some point.
Oh yeah.
Whether you're writing a song, you say, "Hey, wouldn't it be great if we have an alto sax solo on this song?" And you go, "Oh yeah, that'd be terrific." And your song is in, um, I don't know, C sharp major. Well, if your song's in C sharp major, you're gonna put your alto sax player in A sharp major, which is
Whoa.
which is actually technically a theoretical key. It doesn't really actually exist.
Right. Right.
So it would get a little bit awkward. And
Yeah.
sax players, good ones, they will play in certain sharp keys. They'll be fine with it. But if you got like lots of sharps in the key signature, not so much fun because, you know, the fingering gets a little bit awkward.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
have a think carefully about the key that you're in
Right.
for your song, and even if you really, really, really want an alto sax, it's not going to be very easy for them. So, I mean, there's things you could think about. You could go, okay, why am I doing this in C sharp major? Nobody writes pop songs in C sharp major. Let's flip it enharmonically and make it D
Right.
flat major instead.
And
That's only 5 flats.
there are some times where if you have a song and you want a saxophone solo, it's almost better to let the saxophone player hear the song and let them write what they think is appropriate because they can make those adjustments on the fly. They just kind of need to know what key
Oh,
you're
sure,
in.
but they need to know what the key is. Now,
Sure, right.
a good sax player will be able to transpose the chord, you know, the key on the fly. They'll just go, okay, so we're in the concert key of E flat. Fine, that
Right.
puts me in C, and away they
Right.
go.
And Brett Marler, yes, Notion will help you with that, and so will Studio One, and it's
In the
uh,
score view.
yeah,
Yep.
in the score, yeah. So you are correct. So whether it's Notion or whether it's Studio One score option, you can go ahead and write a piece, and then and then use the score option to transpose it to the correct note for that instrument, and then print it out for them.
Yeah, and the cool thing is the secret sauce as to why the score editor will do that is because the secret is that the score editor is Notion.
Yes.
It is. It
Yep.
is literally Notion written on the Studio One code base.
Nice. Very, very cool. All right, let's see. What do we got here? We will be wrapping up the show at 7:45 or 45 minutes past whatever hour you're in around the world and everything. I have to.
Let's
I
get
have
to
to.
questions then.
Yeah,
Yep.
I thought I had the week off, but I guess I don't, so I have to work. So anyway, that's just the way it is. Um, so yes, and Elvis getting some serious lap time. Yes, he was. I was gone all day, and he wasn't very happy apparently. So he jumped up, and as you can see, he is not moving at all. He's just kind of listening to what to what we're doing here. So very cool. Let's see. Bobby Booth. He says that's why a musician should also know how not to only read music but play by ear. Yeah, that I think it's helpful. I
Got to be able
have
to do both.
yeah, I have run into musicians that come to the studio that just don't know how to freestyle. They can't. If it's not written, they really don't know what to do, and that's hard. Like my daughter, who I let you guys know that she plays the vibes and the drums in her jazz band, and there were a couple of times where she got to the show and she forgot her music.
Hmm.
And rather than going and telling the teacher that she forgot her music, she goes ahead and she just kind of goes by whatever memory and then just kind of wings it, whatever through. And the last time she did that, I was there with her and I saw it was a fantastic performance. And the teacher walks up to us and he goes, Amanda, did you forget your music? And she kind of smiles and she's like, yeah, was it okay? He says, actually, it was fantastic. Just the fact that she was able to keep up. But see, I taught her how to play by ear here. And then she learned how to read music at school there. So, Bobby, you are absolutely right. It really helps to do both. Now, not that one is better than the other. If you want work, being able to do at least read music is probably, a good idea. But yeah, knowing how to just kind of wing it, playing by ear. That's how I learned. What do they call that? I know that I'm not an autodidact, but I don't know if just playing by ear. I remember some interviews with Akira Ifukube that did all the Godzilla background music and stuff like that. They called him an autodidact because he did it by ear. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
Not in that sense, no. But I mean, yeah. I mean, great musicians, who are very accomplished with their instruments and they do a lot of practice, should have developed a good enough sense of pitch
Yeah.
and enough ear that they will be comfortable with playing by ear, and playing charts. Reading charts is essential if you want to get session work. If you want to be a session
Right.
musician, then yeah, definitely being able to read charts, at sight is a very, very important skill to have.
Right.
But likewise, also being able to play by ear is essential as well. You've got to
Yeah.
have both skills. But I'd say, if there were, like to use a baseball analogy, reading charts is base one, playing by ear is base two. Then, to get to the third base, the secret sauce is being able to play from memory.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're not you so you are playing the chart and you are playing by ear, but the chart is not in front of you. It's up here.
Right. Right.
So if you want to go see a very fine example of that in action, go watch Snarky Puppy.
Oh,
Watch some of their videos. You will not see a single chart on the stage, but they are playing incredibly complex music
by memory?
by memory.
That's insane.
That's how they learn the music.
Yeah.
This is the way it works is that whoever the composer is, and sometimes it's more than one composer for a particular tune within the band, is they will send out MP3s, or they all use Logic Pro, so they'll be sending out Logic Pro sessions, and everybody will listen, and
Right.
that's how they memorize.
That's
And they
crazy.
do that. They'll play 16, 20 incredibly complex charts, all from memory.
That's crazy.
Mm.
Bob New York, he goes, playing by ear hurts after a while because once in a while you need to turn your head.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Bob. Another Bopism there for those of you Confucius
And
says.
of course, Vincent van Gogh never had option. He just
Yeah,
had the one.
right. It's why he wasn't a musician. Secret Squirrel to me and Johnny Lipton says, does Persona's Baltimore meetup still happen or take place? That's a good question. I'm not sure.
It's supposed to, and it was supposed to happen this evening.
Oh,
Yeah, it was supposed to happen this evening. I think at 7 Eastern.
7 Eastern.
But a few people checked out, and I don't think the host was present, which
Oh.
is, yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah.
So I'm investigating it to find out what's
Right.
gone on there.
That sounds cool. We have 31 people in here. Thank you guys for popping in here. Also, be aware that next Saturday at 8 o'clock is the Illinois meetup that I will be hosting for Personas. Should be a good time. And also to let you guys know, be aware too that the live streams for Home Studio Trainer, the last one will be on the 30th, and it will be a subscriber music hour, and I'm gonna see if I can go 2 hours on that one. I might just go ahead and start at 6 on that one, and that'll be the last one for a while. I have to take a break for a little while. Support for the live streams has been slow and growing, so I have to take care of some other options for a while. But I will be doing live streams still occasionally every month. But the big thing is that there will be a video for Studio One and other subjects released almost on a daily basis going forward. So I'll be able to really build up the library on the new channel and everything. So I hope everybody understands, but I will be making more announcements as this month goes on, and we'll see if anything is fixed before then. So we'll see what happens. All right, very cool. So Johnny, do we have any other questions in the chat? I actually have a doggy situation here that I can't reach for my mouse at the moment.
I'm just having a quick scan. Shorty Beard says, seems easiest to write all parts on piano and then transpose the whole part to whatever instrument it's going to. Yeah, that's exactly how most composers work. Is they mostly write like, for example, somebody like John Williams, they will do orchestral mock-ups in Cubase or Logic or something like that.
Right.
And they will make a sketch what you call a piano condenser score, which basically you condense everything down to just a grand staff for piano, which is annotated by the composer, saying, you know, these need to be French horns, these need to be trombones, these need to be clarinets, or whatever.
Right.
And then that all gets sent off to the orchestrator, who then orchestrates all the parts out into a full score, and then prints out the parts for the orchestral performers. And that's how scores get written, especially for those that are using a real live orchestra, which is what John Williams does. He occasionally will have some synth elements added to it, but mostly it's a real orchestra. But if you want that real synthesis or symbiosis between synthesized sounds and a real orchestra, you've got to listen to the music of the late great James Horner, who wrote the music to Titanic and a few other great films, and including Apollo 13, which is actually one of my favorite scores. The score to Apollo 13 is just gorgeous.
Yeah, you've mentioned that.
And it's just a beautiful blend of wordless vocals by Annie Lennox, the Scottish vocalist, and orchestra and some synthesized sounds as well. And
she's a very underrated vocalist.
I mean, she became famous with Dave Stewart forming the Eurythmics, and had a massive string of top 10 pop hits. But yeah, boy, what a voice she's got. She's very adept at singing in different styles. Let's see, what else do we have? Because I want to try and get through as many as I can find here. Neil Thompson says your show became standard viewing like Johnny Carson was.
Oh, wow. That's quite...
Like many folks back in the days, my significant other will say, "Are you watching Johnny tonight?" I bet I'm not the only one. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
that's great.
I agree with that.
I appreciate that very much. I appreciate that.
Let's see, what else do we have? Snarky Puppy are real musicians. They are phenomenal musicians. They are breathtaking musicians.
Yes.
And I also want to highlight a few comments that Dave at Bops NY has said here, where he talks about the Nashville number system. That is a subject that we should reserve for a show all in its own right.
Really?
Because it's a really, really useful way of being able to get chord changes on a chart that you can give out to musicians, and it's flexible because all you need to do is just say, okay, we're going to do it in B flat. So they try the song in B flat. It maybe doesn't work for the vocalist, so they go, okay, well let's try this down in A flat. And you're just following the numbers, which are, you know, for example, 2-5-1, 2-5-1. So that's what the number system is. But we can go into a lot more depth onto how to write it, how to understand it, and how to read and follow it. So you really need to know your intervallic relationships. Otherwise, you would struggle with the Nashville number system. But it's really, really a very helpful tool to have.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Let's see, Michael Johnson. Oh, it looks like he added his name to his title there. He says, might be able to help with the Nashville number system with connecting some people. Yeah, I'm not quite, yeah. I don't know if I missed part of the question or whatever.
No, that was, he just didn't put a full stop at the end of there.
Oh, okay. All right. I wasn't sure if there was something else to come after that.
Yeah, I mean, Mike knows a lot of Nashville session players, so you know, he has a lot of connections with people that actually use that a lot.
Right.
I have used it a fair bit because I do quite a lot of online session work, so I work with people around the world, and quite often I get a chart in Nashville numbers, so it's useful to know it because there are symbols, different symbols for major chords, minor chords, diminished chords, and all of that are not the same as you would get in common chord symbol. numerology, so to speak.
Okay, really quick, Leon over on Wix, he said, so Johnny, are you still going to be doing private sessions and support and helping people? Oh, absolutely. The only thing that's changing, and I didn't want to make this a big subject of this show, the only thing that's changing are the live streams. I have to take another avenue for a while, as I can, as like I said, support kind of dwindled, making it difficult financially, so I had to take up another form of income that actually tramples over that time. So, anyway, yeah, I'm still going to be working with Personas and with Johnny and in the main groups, answering questions. In fact, it's been an amazing week this week. I've done 8 sessions since Monday on Zoom for various people over in the expert chat over there in Sphere, along with several that I've done over for the main Personas group and 2 for the HST Studio One support group. So that stuff isn't going to change. I'm not going anywhere. The home studio trainer site is still up. You can become a member there. It is free for that. Patreon is still available for those who'd like to maybe be, support what I do as far as videos go. And you guys will be able to make that determination once the videos start rolling. And of course, those of you that are over at PivotShare, I am still supporting. So please understand I'm not going anywhere. It's just that unfortunately the live streams are going to have to go away for a while. All right, very cool. Tony Cardona says, will Johnny Lipscomb take over Songwriting Simplified? That's a good question. Now, see, with me out of the picture, you might be able to go back to 6.
I probably will. I mean, you and I have not discussed this, so I guess
we haven't gotten that far yet. Yeah,
and we probably should.
Yeah.
And so I think probably the obvious solution is that I will take over Songwriting Simplified, at least for the meantime, until further notice.
Right, exactly. And I've got some things in the works as far as maybe live stream, a couple of live streams a month, doing a support live stream like on certain days during the week for the folks over on Facebook and in the Personas forums, taking questions and doing a 1-hour live stream in the afternoon, like say 2 o'clock or something like that, like Personas used to do. Those would be easy for me to do and things like that. I won't be able to do the daily thing like I've been doing for the past 10 years, but I am not going away. I'm just kind of in the need to change things up a little bit, so I hope everybody understands. I really tried to keep the subscriber music hour going, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to promote Ann Alma's radio program, who also plays songs from you guys too, and I got to get with him and see what get his schedule and make sure that we post that on a regular basis in the HST groups especially. So very cool. All right, so Johnny, one last question here, and this is from Leon as far as transposing, and I think I asked this already. I don't know if anybody. I think I asked this last week when we were kind of gearing up to this subject. Is there any instrument that you can't transpose to?
No. No, not really. There are lots of instruments that are in different keys, but really the most common ones that you are ever going to encounter are ones that are based in the equal temperament, 12-tone equal temperament system, which is what Western music is based in. So unless you're writing for West African or Central African or Eastern European instruments, or you're writing for Middle Eastern or Oriental or Asian instruments that don't operate in 12-tone equal temperament, then you're not going to have a problem with writing for transposing instruments, because some of those instruments, they really don't understand the whole concept in other parts of the world. They don't understand the concept of transposing. They really just don't. They just go, well, I put my fingers here and this is the sound that comes out. And they go, oh, okay, that's good. So there's kind of like an oral agreement. And of course, non-pitched instruments like tambourine, shaker, triangle, you don't have to transpose for those.
Yeah, hope not. Now, timpani drums would be an interesting, I don't know, exception. You just tune them to the note that you want, correct?
That is correct. They are not transposing instruments. Those are instruments, like flute is a concert pitch instrument. Piccolo is a concert pitch instrument, although technically it's also transposing because it is you write an octave lower for that, because otherwise it's sitting way, way, way in the stratosphere above the stage.
I'd say, yeah, you'd have to bring that down an octave or 2 or 3 or 4 just to get it in tune with stuff. That sounds good. All right, so that's going to do it for us for today, folks. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Let's see, at our peak, we had 28, 31. We had 32 people in here today for today's discussion. We have 30 in here now, and we've got 20 likes, so I really do appreciate it. All right, so Michael Johnson looks like he has an after-show Zoom that you guys are more than willing to go out to, and I definitely recommend checking them out because it's always a lot of fun. And that should be cool. All right, Johnny, thank you so much once again. And we got one more show together next week. So,
and we'll talk more about the future of Songwriting Simplified next week.
That sounds great.
Because I think the most logical solution is I will take it over.
That would be wonderful. And I'm sorry I haven't brought it up sooner. I was actually
It's cool, dude.
I was actually hoping I could get out of having to do this, but it doesn't look possible right now. So
it's fine. You know what? I think ultimately, I think the break is going to do you good.
I think so too.
I really do. I really think this is a positive thing.
Okay, great. And of course, Johnny, as always, you have supported me through all of this for so many years. And
I've been right by your side for 10 years.
Yes, at least.
It's not going to change anytime soon.
Good. That sounds good, and that, trust me, that helps me a lot. You have no idea. All right, cool. So thank you for everybody that came in here. We hit our peak at 33 just now. Very awesome. All right, so if you follow the link, you'll be able to get to the Zoom show for Michael Johnson. It's where usually everybody hangs out after all of this. I will let you guys know of the schedule change and everything that's up and coming for Home Studio Trainer. I think Johnny's right. I think it'll be a good thing. And believe it or not, I've almost got 4,000 watch hours now. I don't know where it came from. I got like 900 in a couple of days. So that would be good because that means I can monetize my videos again. And
keep it going. Just keep the content coming. And I think taking a break from live streams will do you the world of good. I really do.
And there is a whole series of Studio 1.6 videos coming. They will be released on what I think will be a daily basis. And there is, by latest count, there's 84 of them so far. So please stay tuned. And things are only going to get better around here. That's my goal, at least. Anyway. All right, Johnny, say goodbye to the folks as only Johnny Lipsham can.
Ta-ra, love.
You know, the echo was funnier than when you said it. It was also clearer.
Oh my God. I know I improvise, but really it was just like, where the heck? It was just like Manchester.
Ta-ra, love.
Ta-ra, love. Alrighty. Say goodbye, Johnny.
All right, mate. All right. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. And Johnny Lipsham has left the building. Man, I love that guy. He has really been there in my corner through all of this craziness I've been through over the past several months. So thank you to everybody who has continued to support me. It's a small group, but I consider you family, and I do really appreciate it. These are going to be my last few words later.
Is Studio One filled with mysteries in your mind? Well, we can help unlock those mysteries on Saturday nights at midnight. Join us for the HST Home Studio Trainer Midnight Live Stream as we investigate and solve as many mysteries as possible. HST Home Studio Trainer, helping each other make music together.